Welcome back, guys. So I recently scooped up a new Apple Watch. This is the new Apple Watch Ultra 3 that you see right here. It's going to be my next Apple Watch until Apple releases something new. And I also got the Apple Watch Series 11, but in this video we are simply going to be focusing on the Apple Watch Ultra 3, and we're going to be unboxing it, setting it up. And since I'm actually not upgrading from the Apple Watch Ultra 2, this is the Ultra 1 which I'm upgrading from. We are going to be looking at differences between the Apple Watch Ultra 3 and the Ultra 1 that I have right here. This is the box that the Apple Watch Ultra 3 comes in. You can see just by looking at this box, it's color coded and it's very different from that which I got from the Apple Watch Ultra 1. And one of the reasons for that is because the Apple Watch Ultra 1, which I'm coming from, was only available in one color, which was just the titanium color. And you can see the way Apple portrayed the Apple Watch Ultra 1 at the back is different from the way they portray the Apple Watch Ultra 3. They no longer have a picture of the Apple Watch Ultra on the back, just like what you can see here on the Ultra 3's box, which is kind of unfortunate, but it does tell you a little bit of information about the device that you've acquired, like the Apple Watch Ultra 3 49mm black titanium charcoal, and then it tells you more information, and there's a QR code right there which wasn't existing on the previous Ultra 1 box that you can see right there. The unboxing experience should be pretty much the same. You just bring these hooks in and then you lift this thing out of the way just like this, and then I'll do this side. Try to be gentle so that, you know, in case the Ultra 4 comes out and I need to compare, then you can see how this looks here. So this is the inside of the Apple Watch Ultra 3 once you unbox the outer box. Just to compare, this is how the inside of the Apple Watch Ultra 1 looks, and it's lighter because of the natural titanium color. Of course, one of the things that you get is this handbook that tells you about the different functions. So for example, you can see it tells you the different features like that make up the body of the Apple Watch. Digital crown, you have the action button right here, and because I'm in Canada, it's both in English and in French. And you can see it tells you about the side button, the Apple Park charger, and you have compliance and regulatory information right there that you can see documentation. On the latest iPhone 17 Pro, they actually removed the compliance and regulatory. You only access it on the iPhone, but we'll put this guy aside, and now you can see the box that the Apple Watch Ultra comes in. It has this unique looking purplish watch face which it comes with, and looking at the back here, it just has the Apple Watch information, and there's some pull tabs right there. But you can also see what I got to go with the Apple Watch Ultra 3. This is the band, and if you look on the back of it, this is the trail loop, and that's all, by the way, that comes in this box. So we'll start with the band. The band has a pull tab right here that you can pull to have it open. So if I pull this, put it to the side, and then lift up just like this, you can see how the band comes pre-packaged, and then to lift it out, you just basically pull it out the box just like this. Now you can see it also comes with some information right there, and that's pretty much it that comes in the box for the band. You do have a little bit of information on how to attach and detach your band to the watch. So this is the attachment, and how to adjust the band as well so that it fits and performs best when it comes to wearing it with your new Apple Watch Ultra. Let's unbox the Apple Watch Ultra itself. This is the case. So you can see at the back we have two pull tabs. I'll just quickly pull them off just like this. Easy. And now if I twist this to the back and then slowly raise up the box, I have to give it a little bit of a shake to speed up the process, but you can see inside here we don't have anything else. What we have in this compartment, you can see, is the Apple Park charger. It looks pretty much the same as what I got when I initially purchased my Apple Watch Ultra 1. By the way, this Ultra 1 is the natural titanium like I mentioned. I just had the cover over it just to protect it. One thing that I thought Apple would actually do is color match the cable to the color of the Apple Watch. That would be actually sleek. Imagine having a black cable to go with the black titanium case for your Apple Watch. That would actually look pretty sick. Continuing with the unboxing, you can see now this is the Apple Watch Ultra 3 case. It looks pretty good. I'll just quickly unbox it, and there's a pull tab. Actually, that's not the way to do it. It's from the bottom right here. So there's a pull tab, you pull it off right there, and then there's another pull tab on this side. You just pull it off, and if you want to take it off the best way without breaking this cover, that's how you do it. And we'll put this to the side. Now you can see how this case looks. To give you a side-to-side comparison with the titanium Apple Watch Ultra 1, you can see how this case looks. It looks like it's pretty slim too compared to the Ultra 1 in terms of the height of it, like how much it sits away from my wrist. You can see if I put it here, I mean, this angle makes it look pretty much the same, but I'm going to quickly turn it on and set up. And while I do that, I will leave chapters or video timestamps in the description of this video so that you can jump to the section that you want, because the next thing after setting up, I'm going to compare it to the Apple Watch Ultra 1, because there's a couple of things that are new on the Ultra 3 that the Ultra 1 doesn't have, and then you can find what the specific chapter that you want to jump to. First thing I'm going to do is to put on the band on my Apple Watch Ultra. So I'll take this section and then slide it in here, just like this. It clicks and goes in. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is to take this and then slide it into here. And now this is how the band looks. I'll remove this Apple Watch Ultra 1 from my wrist, just like this, slide this in, and if I pull on this band just like this, and now if I pull on this band just like this, you can see I have the ability to tighten or loosen it just a little, not too tight, just a little bit snug, so that it's able to get accurate reading. That will be good enough. And you can see how it looks. It looks amazing compared to my Apple Watch Ultra 1. I actually wanted black from the get-go, but the Ultra 1 was only available in one color, and the black casing looks good. You can see on the side the orange crown button really gives it this contrasty look. And now I'll just quickly turn it on by pressing and holding the side power button right there. You can see the Apple Watch is now turning on. So after it turns on, this is how it initiates, and it says bring an iPhone close to your Apple Watch to begin the pairing process. There's an info icon that you can press and select the language that you want, so English, and then you can select your region. But I'll quickly just bring my iPhone close to this Apple Watch just like this, and the moment I bring it close, you can see there's this pop-up that says use your iPhone to set up your Apple Watch. So it's a faster way than and a more convenient way than actually doing it on the smaller screen of the Apple Watch. And set up your Apple Watch. If you have an Apple Watch, you can set it up right here, and you have the ability to set it up for yourself and family. And it shows you some of the cool watch faces that are here with watchOS 26. So I'll set up for myself right here, and now hold Apple Watch to the camera, and you can see if I bring my Apple Watch, it's showing this screen, which I have to align with my iPhone camera just like this, and just hold still, and it should begin to pair properly. So I'll reposition it, and once it turns green just like this, you can see hold Apple Watch up to camera and align the view, and now it says your Apple Watch is paired, and it has this pretty cool animation that you see right there. Your Apple Watch is paired. Make this your new Apple Watch. I'll click continue right there, and on my Apple Watch you can see it just has the information of the Apple Watch. So 49 titanium and ceramic case, and designed by Apple in California. And right now on the iPhone it says connecting your Apple Watch. This may take a moment, maybe just to show you how I'm looking. This is how I am right now. So I have it raised like this, and it's going to take a little bit of time to set up this process, and then I'll continue to the next step once the screen clears. The next step is actually the terms and conditions. You can read through them or you can just accept. And the next step is to create a passcode. I'll quickly create one and create a 4-digit passcode on your Apple Watch. So I'll just tap on my Apple Watch and create a pretty easy to remember password, and it will tell you, hey, this password is easily guessed, but I don't really care. I'll just say use it anyway. And now I have the ability to re-enter the same password, so I'll enter it like this, and then it says continue setup on your iPhone. Now it has pre-populated information that's like my personal information, such as date of birth, sex, height, and so on, and you have the ability to actually set up whether you are in a wheelchair or not. So the information is pretty accurate and up to date. And the next thing it shows is safety information, emergency SOS for detection, crash detection, siren, backtrack, and satellite emergency SOS via satellite, which is something that the Apple Watch Ultra 1 actually never had, but the new Apple Watch Ultra 3 has. So these are some safety things that it's telling you that it has. And control Apple Watch with one-handed gesture. This is something that wasn't also available on the Apple Watch Ultra 1, but I'm glad that I upgraded to the Apple Watch Ultra 3. I'll be testing it right there. And here it gives you the ability to change, so you can quickly turn your wrist over and back to dismiss anything and return to your Apple Watch face. And there's another new feature called double tap. Control your Apple Watch with one-handed gesture. So double tap is basically tap your index finger and thumb together twice to answer a call, reply a message, see your stack, and more. So that wasn't also available on the Apple Watch Ultra 1, and I'll be testing it on this Apple Watch Ultra 3. I'll click continue. The next thing that's here is the depth app for divers. So this depth app can automatically open underwater and measure temperature, time, and depth to 40 meters, which is the same with the Apple Watch Ultra 1. They both do 40 meters. Click when submerged and it will open automatically when it detects that I'm going underwater, right? Next thing is diving safety. Underwater activities are risky, so it gives you a quick disclaimer which you can go through. And now it says signing into your Apple Watch. This may take a few minutes. Okay, next is Apple Pay. No need to reach for cards when it's time to pay, so you can set up now or you can set it up later. I'll click continue, and it has automatically auto-populated my Apple Pay cards that are already on my iPhone 17 Pro. So if I click continue just like this, it's gonna try to scan my face with like my iPhone, but if that's not successful, I'll have to input my passcode. I just did, and you can see it's adding the card issuer, and it's gonna do that for all the other cards that I have in my Apple Pay. So I'll skip this step, but it's a pretty simple and straightforward step where you have to agree to the terms and condition for each card, and then you might have to put your security code for your specific card and each card that you have, which will be a step that you can do simply just like this. So now I have to input my security code for this card, and it's a pretty simple step, so I'll skip this part since it's the same and I have multiple cards. After Apple Pay info, the next screen that pops up is actually a welcome screen to your new Apple Watch. Welcome to Apple Watch, and it has a pretty cool hello animation that it showed, and you can see on the screen of the Apple Watch it basically says update complete, and I have the ability to click OK. It has a loading screen, and then on the iPhone I have the ability to click done. So once I do that, now you can see the Apple Watch is good and ready to go, and it has this hello animation that you see right there. And now I'll click where it says start, and you can see welcome to watchOS 26. You can take a tour or you can skip, and when you take a quick tour of some of the things that are here with watchOS 26, you can see it gives you a tour on pressing the digital crown, and it takes you to the home section, and then you press the digital crown again to go back to your home screen. Now it says press the side button to open Control Center. Now you can see how that opens, and then press it again to get out of Control Center. The next thing that it tells you is to scroll the digital crown like this, and you access your Smart Stack widget, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't really give you like a prompt or a quick setup for the action button right here, since it's one that you can customize according to your need. And because I previously had it on the flashlight with my previous watchOS, you can see it carried over that same setting. So because the Apple Watch automatically backs up to your iPhone, once you pair a new watch to your with your iPhone, it automatically transfers whatever information was on the previous watch to the phone, and then once that's done, that info is then added to a new Apple Watch. So there's no need to like do backup and restore and all that, because the Apple Watch and the iPhone does it automatically in the background. And then after that, you can see a new device has been added to my account, and that's pretty much it. There are some differences that are here between the Apple Watch Ultra 3 and the Apple Watch Ultra 1, which I'm coming from. So let's talk about some of those differences that are here, and hopefully this gives you an idea to know whether you can update or not. So the first difference that I want to talk about when it comes to these two devices is that the colors choices are different. So the Apple Watch Ultra 1 was only available in one single color, which is this titanium color that you see right there. And this is a band that I got from my Apple Watch Series 7, the green one. But yeah, you can get different options of band for your Ultra 1, but the case is only one color on the Ultra 1, while on the Ultra 3 you have two colors, which are natural titanium and black titanium. The one that you see right here is the black titanium. So that I'm not intrusive, I'll just bring it close like this. You can see how it looks, and there's no case or anything, and pretty much both watches are in good condition. This one had the cover. It just gives you an idea of how the two colors look. Now, another difference that's here between the Apple Watch Ultra 3 and the Apple Watch Ultra 1 is that the case is different in terms of dimension. So with the Apple Watch Ultra 1, it weighs about 61.4 grams, but the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is actually different depending on the color that you get. So the black titanium that you see right here comes in at 61.8 grams, so it's 0.4 grams heavier than the Apple Watch Ultra 1. And then the Apple Watch Ultra 3 natural titanium comes in at 61.6 grams, so it's 0.2 grams heavier than the Apple Watch Ultra 1. So those are just grams, and it's not like kgs. It's not something that you notice, but just interesting that the weight is different depending on the color selection that you choose. Another thing to highlight as well is the display. So both Apple Watch Ultra 1 and Apple Watch Ultra 3, they have the 49mm case that you see right here, but the bezels are different on the Apple Watch Ultra 3. They are much slimmer. In fact, if I turn on the flashlight just like this, you might be able to see how much slimmer the bezels are. So you can see this black border that you have right here, you know, between the screen and the edge of the watch. You can see that black border that's there. Those are the bezels that I'm referring to. Even though the screen size is the same, 49mm, you can see it seems like the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has a slightly larger screen, and it's all because of the bezels that are slimmer. And there's also a change when it comes to the pixels, because if you look at this, I'm not sure if you'll be able to capture it or see it using my camera that I have right here, but the pixels and the resolution are slightly different. So the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has a pixel resolution of 420 by 510, and the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has a display area, like the whole total area, of 1245 square millimeters. So that's slightly larger than what we have on the Apple Watch Ultra 1. And then another difference that's here when it comes to the pixel resolution of the Apple Watch Ultra 1 is that it only has 410 by 502 pixels as compared to 422 by 510 on the Apple Watch Ultra 3. And the square area that it has on the Apple Watch Ultra 1 is only 1185 square millimeters, while the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has 1245 square millimeters. So that explains why when I go to the flashlight or when you look at the screen, it almost seems like the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has a slightly larger screen. The difference that's here between the Apple Watch Ultra 3 and the Apple Watch Ultra 1 is that the Ultra 3 has LTPO3 while the Ultra 1 has LTPO2. So this means that it can manage refresh rates even better and use less power when the screen is always on, which is a feature that I always leave on my Apple Watch. And another difference that's here is the brightness. So when you set your watch to the maximum brightness, which I do by turning on the flashlight, the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has 3000 nits of brightness, while the Apple Watch Ultra 1 has only 2000 nits of max brightness. Another difference as well is that the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has wide angle OLED display, while the Apple Watch Ultra 1 has OLED display only. So this means that the viewing angles are going to be much better on the Apple Watch Ultra 3 versus the Apple Watch Ultra 1. So if you are doing a sport or a workout and you don't want to necessarily raise up your wrist to look at your information, you can quickly just glance at it while your wrist is like flat, hands down like this, and you still be able to see it because the viewing angles are much better. But it's hard to do justice or show it on the camera, but that's another improvement that's slightly here with the Apple Watch Ultra 3. Another difference that's here as well is the Apple Watch Ultra 3 supports sleep apnea notification. So now if I go into my health app on the iPhone right there and go to sleep apnea, I have the ability to set it up. While on the Apple Watch Ultra 1, I actually never had that ability. So you can see now sleep apnea notifications. You can receive a notification if your Apple Watch identifies signs of sleep apnea, and it gives you like a quick rundown of, are you 18 years or older, and have you ever been diagnosed with sleep apnea? I'll click no. How these notifications work, it gives you an idea of how this works by tracking your breathing, and you'll be notified. And it's important to know that not all people with sleep apnea will receive notifications, and if you click next, sleep apnea notifications have been turned on. So I never had the ability to do this when it comes to my Apple Watch Ultra 1, but the Ultra 3 I now have the ability to do that. Now another difference as well that I want to highlight has to do with emergency SOS. So both Apple Watch Ultra 1 and Ultra 3 have Wi-Fi plus cellular, but the Ultra 1 only supports Wi-Fi and cellular is just LTE, and I believe LTE just means long-term evolution. But the Apple Watch Ultra 3 now supports Wi-Fi, of course, which the Ultra 1 has, and it also supports 5G, which means faster and more stable cellular connection, but the stability part is not always guaranteed. The chipset as well that comes with both these devices is slightly different. So the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has the new S10 chip, while the Apple Watch Ultra 1 just has an S8 chip. The differences from what I've been able to see isn't much, and it looks pretty much the same in terms of performance, but of course you're going to get slightly better functions and features on the Ultra 3 because of the newly added chip. Also, the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has the 2nd gen wideband chip, while the Ultra 1 has the 1st gen ultra wideband chip. So the Ultra 3 has better Find My capabilities when you are trying to find something, whether it's your iPhone or you're trying to locate your Apple Watch. Also, the base storage has been improved. So now if you go into your Apple Watch settings on the Apple Watch Ultra 3 and go to the About section, you can see the storage capacity is now 64 gigs. If I was to do the same and go into the settings and then come on Ultra 1, what's wrong? It's like it already knows that it's being overtaken. So if I go into the storage of this device, you can see the Ultra 1 only has the capacity of 32 gigs as compared to 64 gigs on the Ultra 3. There's a couple features as well that are available on the Apple Watch Ultra 3 that are not available on the Ultra 1. So for example, the wrist flick gesture is available, but it's not on the Ultra 1. So that means if I get a call or a notification and I want to dismiss it, I can simply just wrist flick my wrist like this, and it will dismiss the call and just show my Apple Watch face. Also, the double tap gesture wasn't available. I had, you can see when I do this with my finger, maybe I'll just go to the full screen just to show you. You can see on the Ultra 3, if I do this, I have the ability to go to next, and then if I do like this, it goes back, which is something that's not available on the Apple Watch Ultra 1. But there is a shortcut on the Apple Watch Ultra 1 where you can enable an accessibility for gesture control. It won't exactly give you the same function always, but it gives you like a one-handed use where you can use your Apple Watch Ultra 1 pretty much the same way. But yeah, that's the double tap gesture that's not available. And because of this new change, if I was to go into settings on the Apple Watch Ultra 3 under the gestures, I have more than just gestures that I can turn on. So I have the wrist flick right there. I have cover to mute. Cover to mute is available on the Apple Watch Ultra 1, but it's the only gesture that's available. You can see the Ultra 3 gets the wrist flick that I mentioned, and you get the double tap as well on the Ultra 3. And you can see I'm simply just scrolling by just doing the double tap, which is something that's good. Also, another thing that's here, or a difference between these two watches, is that the fast on device Siri was not available on the Apple Watch Ultra 1, but on the Apple Watch Ultra 3 it supports that fast on device Siri. And it seems like when you are using Siri, it's more like when you are dictating, it seems to pick up more accurately or as to what you are saying as compared to the Apple Watch Ultra 1. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 also has the precision finding for iPhone, while the Apple Watch Ultra 1 only has find iPhone only. When it comes to the battery life, there's another difference that's here. So with the Apple Watch Ultra 3, it can go up to 42 hours, while the Apple Watch Ultra 1 can only go up to 36 hours. So you do get about 6 hours extra with normal usage. Also, another difference as well, if you're going to be charging your Apple Watch frequently, is that now the Apple Watch Ultra 3 supports faster charging, so it can do 0 to 80% in about 45 minutes, while the Ultra 1 can do 0 to 80% in about 1 hour. So you save up about 15 minutes. And the Apple Watch Ultra 3, we have numbers that we weren't technically provided for when it comes to the Apple Watch Ultra 1. So for example, Apple mentions that 15 minutes of charge on the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is equals to 12 hours of normal use. That's pretty good. But when it comes to sleep tracking, when Apple released the Apple Watch Ultra 1, they mentioned that 8 minutes of charge is equals to 8 hours of sleep tracking. But now with the Apple Watch Ultra 3, with regards to sleep tracking, 5 minutes of charge gives you 8 hours of sleep tracking. Slight improvement right there. Just keep in mind that as you are testing these numbers as well, with the Apple Watch Ultra 1, you won't necessarily get 8 hours of sleep tracking with 8 minutes of charge, because by now, if you bought it like me a couple years back, I think it's like 2 or 3 years back, the battery health is no longer the same, so it will affect the numbers that you get slightly. But other than that, that's just my quick look at the new Apple Watch Ultra 3. With regards to whether you should be updating or not, for me personally, since I'm upgrading from the Apple Watch Ultra 1, there were a number of features when it comes to watchOS and hardware limitations that the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and even the Apple Watch Series 10 could do, such as the, wrist flick, the double tap, the sleep apnea notifications that the Ultra 1 couldn't do, that I couldn't demonstrate while I was testing these devices in watchOS betas and so on. And as you can see from the comparison, there's a lot of things that you now can do with the Apple Watch Ultra 3 that the Ultra 1 cannot do. So it feels like it's a pretty good update when you are coming from the Ultra 1 and jumping to the Ultra 3. But if you are going from the Ultra 2 to the Ultra 3, it's not such a big jump in most cases, and I think this is how most users are going to take it. If they have the Ultra 2, they most likely won't be upgrading, unless if they need the new emergency SOS via satellite and the slightly improved bezels, since they are slightly slimmer. Other than that, it's pretty much on par with the Apple Watch Ultra 2, and the colors that you get as well are the same as the Ultra 2. But that's just my quick take right here. Let me know what you think about this video. Other than that, that's it for me. If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. My next video is probably gonna be like, I did AirPods, I have new iPhones and stuff. It's a busy month with tech, so yeah, definitely do hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on the new content that's coming pretty soon. Peace.